next speaker is František Štěch. He is currently coordinating the research group for the theology in contemporary culture at the Evangelical or Protestant Theological Faculty at Charles University. He's interested in fundamental and systematic theology, but also he is what we call a Renaissance man. So he has lots of gifts, and I'm pleased that he can share with us today his lecture. Please, František, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Veronica, for introducing me. Well, I'm happy for this invitation. I'm glad that I can speak to this esteemed audience of this conference. While Renaissance person, I'm doing everything actually, but nothing properly, I would say. Okay, so I'll try to share my PowerPoint presentation. Wait a second, I'll just share my screen. Does it work? Can you see something? It seems
Yes.
that you do. It will take some time, maybe. Yes. So can you see my presentation, hear my voice well? Excellent. Thank you very much. So I will just jump into the medias res, and the topic for today's conference was set to AI in the context of Christianity. So I would like to give a short overview of the topic. And Veronica forgot to mention that I'm actually a regular person faculty, but my denominational background is Catholic, and of course I will need to mention something about the recent Pope statements about AI, so don't be surprised in a while. But first of all, I would like to mention some preliminary notes on the post-digital environment, because sometimes we can hear that we are living in a digital environment, but in fact, when we look into the relevant literature, there is already kind of a trend that we no longer speak of digital environment, but rather post-digital environment. And I would like to say that like our ancient human ancestors, and very different from them at the same time, we live in our virtual caves, located in cyberspace, where we paint the stories on walls made of algorithms and not of stone. The internet actually is becoming a new environment, something that becomes more transparent, like a borderline between cyberspace and real space in which our bodies dwell. It slowly fades away, and contemporary people live in the digital landscapes as they do in the physical ones. And I think it's a common experience of people today that we have this ability or this condition to actually live in a digital environment as well as in a physical one, and we are actually moving back and forth quite freely and quite intensively. Let me check the next slide. Will it work? No. No. Yes. So there are some actually quotes from the relevant literature I just spoke about, and I would like to just quickly go through, not reading them. The first quote is from Jandrich and Hayes, who actually defined the post-digital as hard to define. They defined it as messy, unpredictable, digital and analog, technological and non-technological, biological and informational. So basically, it's a kind of a mess, you know. But only 2 years later, Savin Baden and others defined the term post-digital as to the continuous and nearly indistinguishable. Try to minimize this. No, blending of once clearly separable online and offline realms. So basically, this online and offline, so to speak, they intersect. I'd like to mention a sociologist and anthropologist of religion from Canada, Christopher Helland, who once actually divided two categories. He spoke about religion online and online religion. So basically, the religion online, in perspective of Helland, refers to the race of the internet. So when actually religions, world religions and churches realized that there is a new medium, internet, they say, okay, let's go online. So basically, these are the websites of the parishes, presentations of different religious ideas online. That was the first phase. But then, especially slowly turning towards the COVID, and the COVID-19 pandemic actually opened it up very intensively. This religion online moved to the faith of online religion. So basically, religious rituals, religious life came online, and world religions, churches, they actually started to live online somehow. And that was Helen's distinction. But those two categories, I would say, they belong to the digital era. But later on, Menahem Blondheim and Hananel Rosenberg, these two sociologists from Jerusalem, they actually came up with a new category, which is called online religious experience. And that is actually something what belongs, or what we can describe as characteristic for the post-digital era. Because, and then it comes the importance of smartphone. The invention of a smartphone substantially shaped the whole environment, because the relationship between smartphones and humans can be viewed from a perspective of extended self. Smartphones actually extend the human self beyond the realm of human body, and smartphones are becoming part of the human self. So that's another thing. The smartphone then is a typical artifact of the post-digital world and is gaining a spiritual significance. And I really like the work of Sabrina Miller from the University of Bonn, Protestant Theological Faculty, who is actually very busy with the practical theological perspective on post-digital life and post-digital spirituality and spiritual life. And she actually claims that the user perspective comes to the fore. The subject orientation is in practical theology expands, and actually move that, and expands in such an approach that the subject not only comes to view, but becomes a constructive and productive agent of theology. So that is what she considers a specific newness, or the specific characteristic of the post-digital life in relation to spirituality and religious life as well. Okay, so here we come to the question of AI, because when we spoke of smartphones, most of the smartphones, if not all today, they are actually to some extent use artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is running the applications. It runs on the background of the different social media applications, and so on and so on. And it becomes also part of the internet, which is this extended living environment for human beings today. So we can say that one of the characteristics of today is a new hybrid digital physical environment, and we can also say that equals post-digital. Frontiers between living online and offline substantially blurred, and this conference actually bears a witness to it. I'm far away from you physically, but we can be united online, and we are sort of simultaneously living our online and offline lives, and we can share at least a bit of it. Reality is increasingly shaped by how machines work with data and information. So if my computer now crashed because of the conflict between a couple of algorithms who are running on its background, then you won't hear me or see me, or you won't see the thing that I want to see you. So that's another thing which is quite characteristic. So the reality is increasingly shaped by how machines work with data and information. It's not anymore only up to the people. Well, it is to a certain extent, but some of the algorithms are running sort of independently, and in case they crash because of the maybe human mistake as well, we can talk about that later. Then the reality can be different than it is without that kind of thing. AI has ceased to be a matter of experts and has become a society-wide phenomenon. This is my favorite point because, if you sort of consider how it was 10 years ago or 15, if you would like to hear something about artificial intelligence, you have to go to the expert conference of the computer scientists to actually learn something about AI and to be able to talk about artificial intelligence. Today, it's a matter of public small talk in the morning on a bus stop or evening in a bar. So all the people are talking about that, and that started in 2023 or 2022 with a kind of massive spread out of the generative artificial intelligence. That was the break point. And to be honest, not every artificial, the artificial intelligence is not only about the generative artificial intelligence. So, last but not least, more and more tasks are being handed over to AI, and as it becomes more efficient, and related to that point, it's also a kind of an anxiety that people will perhaps lose control or lose some of the domains they were used to have as a human realms. So these are a few points marking the post-digital environment in relation to artificial intelligence. Now comes the critical point, because as you may know, the pastoral constitution of the Second Vatican Council in the 60s, issued in 60s, Gaudium et Spes, expressed the Catholic Church's connection with the world. This is also linked to concern for the affairs of this world and theological reflection on the so-called signs of the times. And my claim here is that artificial intelligence as a new technology is clearly fitting this category. That is actually recently confirmed by the Vatican Nota. It's a note on artificial intelligence, which is called Antiqua et Nova, which was issued in February 2025 this year by two dicasteries and signed by the late Pope Francis, who was actually busy with this topic at least since 2019. And this Antiqua et Nova 4, actually Article 4, clearly says that when speaking of AI, we are really speaking of the epochal change, in words of late Pope Francis. And last but not least, the new Pope, Leo XIV, in his speech to the cardinals earlier this month, it's not even 14 days, I think, it's 13. Actually, he expressed quite clearly that he considers AI as a part of another industrial revolution. And these developments of artificial intelligence he considered very important and worth for the Church to focus on. So basically, we can say that the Catholic Church will continue this effort to actually understand and to comment ethically and theologically on the phenomena of artificial intelligence. And here is Antiqua et Nova, this note on the relationship between artificial intelligence and human intelligence. I'm not sure how much time I still have, but I will just quickly go through the 6 main points you can find there. For the Czech for my compatriots in the audience, I can reveal you the secret that in very soon the Czech translation, official translation, is done now, and it's in the publishing house, and it will be published as a book quite soon. And I will definitely send a word around, because we will have a public presentation maybe at the beginning of the next academic year at the Charles University. So because we consider that document quite relevant, not only for the regular or usual church document readers, but for a wider public. So basically, you can see it also from the 6 topics. This Antiqua et Nova considers AI as a tool, not a substitute for humans. That's one of the clear statements. We can, of course, take each of the points for the further discussion, because that's not really a kind of ex cathedra document. It's rather a first input of the Catholic Church into the discussion. But it actually clearly says some of the positions Catholic Church is taking towards the new phenomenon of artificial intelligence. Then we have an ethical responsibility and human control. Then we have protection of human dignity, education and critical thinking. That actually relates to the topic of this conference as well. Then, of course, social justice and equality, because the concern of this document is about the digital divide and the access of the people to the new technologies, because there are some warnings that the future scenarios might be that the poor South, or people from the poor South, will not have an equal access to the new technologies, and it will actually not make it better, but even worse, the social divide. And last but not least, also environmental responsibility, because running AI is not really ecological, and that's another big topic for a discussion. When we are playing with AI, we should also consider that behind our play with generative artificial intelligence, they are big algorithms running large language models, who actually consumes a lot of power and also produces a lot of CO2, especially for cooling the large servers they need to run these large language models. So that's a very quick overview of this Antiqua et Nova, and we can come back to it perhaps into more detail in a discussion. And now I also promised in an outline of my short lecture today to actually give you an overview what may be different avenues for theological engagement with AI, because as we have seen in the Antiqua et Nova, for instance, the concern was mainly ethical or the focus on social issues. That was listed above, but I always say that it's not only about ethics and social issues. That's one of the large concerns, of course, but when we speak of theology, we need to also consider 2 large areas for consideration, and that is, okay, so if we say that AI needs to be sort of taken ethically, and this ethical attitude, we also need to say, okay, but what is AI? What is it, what we created as human beings? So that relates to the ontology. So what it is, what we created. And then there is another big bag of problems related to hermeneutics. So one, what we created, what it is, and then how to interpret it. And then, of course, what is the interpretation? Because what is really new today is, and unprecedented, I would say, is that we are now communicating with the machine by our natural language. So it has never been before in the history. So the technology was here since the very beginning of the human person or human beings. We use technology, but now we can communicate with the machine by our natural language, and the machines are also able to communicate between themselves by our natural language. For instance, English or Czech even. So this is something what is really new, and that's clearly a hermeneutical problem. How to understand and how to interpret what the machines are saying to us. And that brings another bag of problems, you know. Can we have a relationship with a chatbot, for instance? And so on and so on. So then, theologically speaking, we are also coming to the areas or realms of theological anthropology. This is mainly concerns questions related to human creation. What does it mean to be created in God's image and likeness? Who is a human being, and what is human in the age where intelligent machines are approaching humans and behaving like them? How should we interpret a person in this context? And can a person be a category that can be attributed to intelligent, in brackets, machine? What is a God-human-machine relationship? These are the questions becoming really important today. Fundamental theology is another bag of problems. What is the relationship between AI and transcendence? Could AI mean the end of religion? Is everything accessible and explainable by powerful, seemingly omniscient algorithms? Has AI potential to become a new kind of religion, or a kind of a new magic or a new oracle? Will AI mean the end of transcendence, or will it rather mean a new impulse for its rediscovery? That's not sure yet. And these are, I would say, fundamental theological problems, which are questions, we need to deal with in a theology now, I would say, if it's not too late. Then another one, apocalyptic. That's actually perhaps a very surprising part of the Christian theology, because Christianity has a long historical experience in distinguishing real threats from fantasies. And that can have an implications for this IAI, fear of AI anxiety. That's already by the WHO defined disease or something, or the trouble. That fear of AI. So we can actually, the Christian theology may help, with the help of its apocalyptic, to actually offer guidelines for distinguishing real threats from merely fantasies. Then practical pastoral theology, that's another bag of things, and that's a topic of this conference. What impact will AI have on the life of the church, on its daily practice? Is it possible to use it in some way? And if so, what should be the criteria for such use? Consider homily preparation. We can do that. Outlines, thematic suggestions, biblical insights, liturgical planning. We can plan for liturgies. We can use AI for planning the catechesis, faith formation support, communication assistance, direct pastoral care. We can find, with the help of AI, counseling resources with respect to special groups, youth, elderly, marriage preparations, hospital visits, etc. We can, of course, use it as an administrative assistant. That could be actually one of the most helpful things, I would say, but also for the spiritual development, retreat planning, personal spiritual growth. I've heard about cases that people are using it in the Catholic Church as for preparation for the sacrament of this. What is the word for it in English again? Spověď. Confession, yes, as a preparation for confession. So that's another thing, So and that's not all. There's a mission and missiology. And this is quite interesting, because we can actually use the AI for targeted social media outreach, AI chatbots for initial engagements, personalization of outreach according to target group. As it can certainly help to reach new audiences, it is still not without a controversy, because especially there's a danger of a new proselytism, new sectarianism. That's a very interesting thing. By the way, you may probably have heard about the predictive religious analytics. So you can use AI to analyze religion, and if you have the big enough bench of data, I would say, you can actually predict the development of the certain communities. And not only predict, but if you can predict the human behavior in religious matters, then you can also use AI, and then, of course, your power to steer the development in a way you want it, So it can be used as for betterment of the religious experience in a certain religion, but on the other way, it can be also used as for radicalization, for actually destroying the religious community. So there are, as you can see, merits as well as big dangers as well. So, and last but not least, I'd like to mention biblical scholarship. My colleague Jiří Dosoudil, he's a biblical scholar. He holds a PhD from biblical theology, and he's very busy with AI assistance, machine translations, manuscript comparisons, reconstruction of fragmented texts, ancient language processing, and so on and so on and so on. And I think I didn't manage to name all. We can go on, but this is just to say that theology can engage with the new phenomena of AI in various ways, and they are really numerous. By the way, this is quite interesting. I would say I like this quote from the journal. I would like to recommend your attention if you don't know it yet. It's an American journal for religion and technology, and it's Zygon. And in the Zygon in 2022, there was an article by Luis Oviedo from Rome, from Antoniana, and he actually published an artificial intelligence and theology looking for a positive but not uncritical reception. And it's quite a programmatic article. I would recommend to read for everyone who's actually based on artificial intelligence and theology. And I especially like this quote, and I will read it aloud. Theology appears as a relevant and needed discipline. It presents an alternative approach to ethical issues together with other disciplines. It assists in discerning our hopes on what is reasonable to believe regarding our future. It provides an accurate analysis of anthropological issues to avoid many risks and to lead towards the right models of human flourishing. And it provides qualified expertise on religion and transcendence, helping to discern between the right and the wrong forms AI eventually assumes. Theology, dealing with scientific and technological advances, recovers a sense of identity and mission, which could be missed when just trying to exercise the right hermeneutics of ancient texts. So it's a quite strong statement, but to my according to my estimation, it quite wraps up how theology can be actually useful in communication with new technologies and especially AI. And actually now we can end here, but I still have two examples for you, like a practical examples. I'm not sure if I have time for that. Veronica, could you make a sign? Yes, I can go ahead. So I would like to say goodbye to you with the two examples. First one is AI 10 and 10 Commandments. That was actually quite interesting thing because I was 2 years ago already approached by this platform AI for Children or AI for Kids initiative team, and they asked me to write for them something on AI and religion. And I was surprised, and we started to talk more, and I did for them this. And then, of course, from our talks, this little teaching material arose. It's in Czech, but now it's being translated into English as well. If I'll have a bit more time, it will be quick, but still working on it. This teaching material actually is designed as a support for teacher of religions, and not only I've heard about people who were using it also in the teaching of the civics, and it actually tries to wrap up how 10 Commandments in the very catechism way of presenting them can have relevance, or how they resonate. I would say that's a better word. How they resonate with the phenomena of artificial intelligence and new technologies. And myself, when I was working on it, I was surprised how we can dig out a lot of inspirations and a lot of good things from there. So you can actually, it's for free. So those who read Czech and would like to see it, it's 2 years old, so there might be still some things which needs to be updated. I'm working on it, but you can download it for free from the website of this ai.cz, AI for Kids. I actually recommend you that website, the whole website, because you can have a very nice overview of the technology of artificial intelligence from from different points of views. So there is a lot of valuable material in case you're working in a pastoral ministry, in youth ministry, in schools, in education. So this is the first thing I would like to share with you. And then another thing, me and my team, we actually were asked to prepare a kind of a toy for the Night of the Churches. Actually, the Night of the Churches 2025 is exactly today. And 2 years ago, we prepared a program for the Church of the Infant Jesus of Prague. And it was because my research group is sort of is mixed between Faculty of Person Theology and Mathematical Physical Faculty of Charles University. So in my team there are not only theologians but also computer scientists. So we have a colleague of mine. She's busy with didactics of informatics, and another colleague of mine, he is a computational linguist. So we basically designed and programmed AI soul imprint generator. So it was a kind of a toy which we prepared as a part of the program for this Night of the Churches in 2023. And our general aim was bring attention to other aspects of AI than just technological ones, and introduce possible intersections between new technologies, especially AI, and human spirituality and religious topics. Concrete aims were presenting biblical concept of soul, which we did on the panels related to this exhibition. Then we wanted to demonstrate how generative AI functions and how it operates. And the third one was to motivate people to ask deeper questions about their humanity and AI and its impact on our humanity and spirituality. We actually thought that it will be quickly over, but you won't believe how successful it was. Now, 2 years later, we have more than 7,000 unique visitors, hundreds of soul imprints made public in our ISIC gallery. And by the way, if you scan the QR code or use the link which is on the slide, you can try it and you can let our AI model generate your imprint of your soul based on responding some questions. You will perhaps find these questions quite stupid, but it was made such for a purpose, because we really wanted to make transparent how AI functions as this generative AI functions on the basis of the probability argument. So basically, there is like sea, forest, mountains. So basically, if you pick the choice forest, most probably on the result image you will have a trees or kind of an image of the forest. So that's how the algorithms work. And of course, we picked the topic of the soul because it's a kind of a common thing we use as a people to speak of our human soul. But most of the time, we are quite weak in defining it. So we wanted to offer people a biblical perspective, the biblical concept of soul, and it resonated quite well. So it was a toy, but it actually raised quite serious questions, And there are some summarized on this almost last slide. And I would like to say that thanks to the ability of machine learning to look for generalizations of facts hidden in data, because what you are giving to the algorithm in our application, it's your data, because that's the responses you are giving to it. AI can reveal something of the nature of that data, of the data it processes. And if we use AI to process text written by one person, a machine model will emerge that can capture something of the essence of that person. We cannot see the soul of the person, but isn't what can be seen through artificial intelligence a glimpse of it? The machine itself is inanimate, for sure. Yet, thanks to the algorithms and data, it can perform many actions that make it appear alive to the outside world. Could we think of the machine as a body and the algorithm or model trained from data as a soul? That's a question. The question of whether a machine can have a consciousness or a soul has been raised more and more often recently. Classical AI usually seems to be more a matter of numbers. Recently, however, an approach where humans communicate with AI using natural language has become increasingly popular. This opens new possibilities for AI systems to communicate with humans. Instead of quantitative numerical data, qualitative characteristics that can be expressed in words are coming to the fore. Such communication with AI systems sheds new light on what it means to be human. But can it possibly give us some new insights into something of our own souls? These are the questions we may ask actually after experiencing this practical thing, which is already 2 years old, but still alive and kicking. We have it on the web, and we will soon place it on our website and just conserve it there, because now we are working on another programs like that. Actually immersing people more into this post-digital characteristics of the world. But what I would like to give you as a goodbye. So my goodbye would be a quotation from Romano Guardini. It's a text, actually, he wrote in his famous Letters from the Lake Como. It's the book, actually, the Czech translation was published only last year in here in Czech Republic, but all in all, the book is 100 years old already. And he actually in the mid-20s, he wrote this, and I would like to actually give you his words on the go today, so that you can actually go with this quotation and think about that, if it's still usable, or if it's still relevant or not. So Romano Guardini says, what we need is not less technology, but more. Or more accurately, we need stronger, more considered, more human technology. We need more science, but it must be more intellectual and designed. We need more economic and political energy, but it must be more mature and responsible, able to see the details in the whole context to which it belongs. All of that is possible, however, only if living people first make their influence felt in the sphere of objective nature, if they relate this nature to themselves, and in this way create a world again. We have to create a world again out of the most monstrous raw materials and forces of all kinds. We originally confronted the task of having to assert ourselves vis-à-vis nature, which then threatened us on all sides because it had not been mastered by us and was thus a chaos for us. Fill the earth and subdue it. That chaos from our standpoint, was shaped into a human world. To the extent that we did this, taking possession of the world and achieving security over against it and in it, by this creativity we have released new forces that had not yet been released by our own attitude and the form of the world we had created. End of the quote. And AI is one of these forces we now released, and as I said, it shapes our world, and we have to actually meditate upon that. And that was the message, and the theologians surely need to join the society-wide conversation about how we develop this technology and how we implement it. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, František, for your contribution, for your examples and the thinking which leads us through your work.